Traoré's influence is extending beyond Burkina Faso, reaching into the Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) and other African nations. You might be wondering, why is a leader from a small West African country making waves in a giant like the DRC? The answer lies in his bold policies and unwavering stand against imperialism, issues that resonate deeply with many African nations that have been historically exploited. But before we get into all that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos on the African web. Ibrahim Traoré's name has become synonymous with change. At just 35 years old, he's already made a significant impact not only in Burkina Faso but across Africa. How did he achieve this in such a short time? What sets him apart from other leaders who've been in power for decades? These are questions on everyone's mind, and the answers lie in his unique approach to leadership and governance. One of Traoré's most striking achievements is Burkina Faso's economic transformation. In just 2 years, the country has been ranked among the top 10 fastest-growing economies in Africa. This is no small feat, especially when you consider that even Niger, led by a military ruler, registered a staggering 12.8% growth, making it the third fastest-growing economy globally. How did Traoré pull this off? By focusing on retaining the wealth generated within Burkina Faso. Take the gold industry, for example. Burkina Faso is one of the world's top gold producers, but for years, the country had no gold refinery of its own. Instead, raw gold was shipped off to Europe for processing, a process that stripped the country of potential jobs and wealth. Traoré saw the inefficiency and acted decisively. He commissioned the construction of a gold refinery right in Burkina Faso. This move is not just about refining gold, it's about creating jobs, keeping wealth within the country, and asserting Burkina Faso's economic independence. But Traoré didn't stop at gold. He also turned his attention to agriculture, specifically the tomato industry. Despite being a major exporter of tomatoes, Burkina Faso was inexplicably importing tomato paste from abroad. Does that make sense? Of course not, and Traoré recognized this absurdity. He immediately commissioned the establishment of a tomato processing plant, which will not only reduce the need for imports but also boost local food production, create jobs, and enhance food security. Healthcare is another area where Traoré is making significant strides. He's spearheading the construction of a world-class health facility valued at $80 million. What's remarkable is his approach. Rather than relying solely on government resources, he's partnering with the private sector. Traoré understands that government efforts alone often fall short, so he's leveraging private sector expertise to ensure these projects are completed efficiently and deliver real, tangible benefits to the people. How often do we see leaders with such a pragmatic approach? But Traoré's impact isn't limited to Burkina Faso. His policies and leadership style are resonating across borders, particularly in the Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC). The DRC, a nation rich in natural resources but plagued by decades of exploitation and instability, is beginning to take notice of Traoré's bold actions. Why is this important? Because the DRC's history of exploitation, particularly by Western powers, mirrors the experiences of many African nations. Traoré's approach offers a possible blueprint for change. In the DRC, Traoré's popularity is growing, especially among those who are disillusioned with the status quo. The DRC, despite its vast mineral wealth, remains one of the world's poorest countries. Much of its wealth has been siphoned off by foreign interests, leaving the country struggling with poverty and conflict. Traoré's decision to consider backing Burkina Faso's currency with gold has resonated deeply in the DRC, where the idea of reclaiming control over national resources is gaining traction. Could this be the beginning of a broader movement across Africa to break free from the economic chains of the past? Moreover, Traoré's stance against the CFA franc, a currency imposed by France on its former colonies, has caught the attention of many in the DRC. The CFA franc is seen by many as a symbol of continued economic colonization. Traoré, along with leaders from Mali and Niger, is in advanced discussions to abandon the CFA franc altogether. This move could inspire similar actions in the DRC, where there is growing discontent with the current economic system. Could this be a turning point for African nations seeking true economic independence? Traoré's influence in the DRC goes beyond economic policies. His outspoken stance on sovereignty and his willingness to challenge Western powers have earned an admiration. The DRC has a long history of interference by foreign powers, particularly in its mining sector. Traoré's actions are seen as a bold stand against this legacy of exploitation. By promoting policies that prioritize national interests over foreign profits, Traoré is offering a vision of leadership that resonates deeply in the DRC. Could this be the leadership model that other African nations have been waiting for? Traoré's approach to governance is also noteworthy. He recently declared Burkina Faso's decision to disengage from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. This move signals a significant shift in regional alliances and underscores his commitment to breaking free from organizations that he believes perpetuate economic servitude. How many leaders today are willing to make such bold decisions in the interest of their people? But what truly sets Traoré apart is his commitment to democratic principles. He's not just paying lip service, he's putting it into action. He shocked many when he declared that he would defend his people's right to protest, even if it's against his own decisions. In a continent where too many leaders see themselves as rulers rather than servants of the people, Traoré's stance is a breath of fresh air. Isn't this the kind of leadership Africa needs? Burkina Faso is also facing serious challenges. The country is engaged in a brutal territorial war with Islamic insurgents, a conflict that was a key factor in the military coup that brought Traoré to power. Under his leadership, a new wave of patriotism has swept the nation, with many young people joining the military to defend their country. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Traoré has wisely sought security assistance from Russia, rejecting what he sees as the hypocritical stance of Western nations, including the United States, which he believes are more interested in maintaining the status quo than in supporting true progress. Traoré's stance on international affairs is also making waves. In a recent speech, he criticized the African Union for its silence on key issues affecting the continent, including the conflicts in Sudan and the Sahel region. He called out the Union for failing to support African nations in their struggles for peace and security. Could his words inspire a new era of African unity and self-reliance? He didn't stop there. Traoré also touched on the legacy of African leaders who have been martyred for daring to challenge the status quo. Leaders like Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, and Muammar Gaddafi. He highlighted how these leaders were betrayed and assassinated, not by foreign powers alone, but with the complicity of fellow Africans. Could Traoré's words spark a re-examination of African history and inspire a new generation of leaders who are unafraid to stand up against imperialism? So, what do you think? Is Ibrahim Traoré the leader who could finally change the course of African history? Could his bold policies and fearless stance against imperialism inspire other African nations, including the DRC, to take control of their own destinies? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the African Web for more in-depth discussions on the issues that matter to Africa.